Well, here we are. Joe and Evelyn Marty. Good to see you.
Yeah, Joe, if I got it.
We did a lot of socializing together years
Yeah,
ago.
years ago, yeah.
In Monroe and down at the Village Inn. And here we are here, it's January the 9th, down here at the Beach Tuba at Turner Hall. And Dr. Hine here is going to video us. And we'll talk a little bit about our interest in dairying and your heritage. And we'd like to bring a little bit on the ethnic also. You know, we're not just saying that we're trying to record how many Swiss are here. We're not trying to segregate the Swiss from Germans or Norwegians or what, but it seems kind of sounds that way. But Joe, where were you born?
Green Prairie Cheese Company.
And where's
That
that?
burned down by Blanchardville over there.
Was that north of Blanchardville?
Right on J, when you go up on J there. Blanchardville burned down here some time ago. My dad made it there 14 years.
And where did he come from?
My dad, he come from Switzerland in 1907. But he got a factory up at Monticello by the Babler Cheese Company. He made cheese up there when he first come to Switzerland, over in Switzerland. I mean,
And what canton did he come from?
Compton Barn, yeah. No, he's not a Berner, no, he's an Inderschwitzer.
Oh,
My dad wasn't a Berner, no. You know, I said I kind of in for them Berners, I don't know why. What's good about the Berner, they're better than the Swiss.
maybe they're like the Texans. They don't
Yeah.
think that there's nobody like a Texan there. There's nobody. So, an Inderschwitz, and was he married when he
Compton
came over?
Schwitz, yeah.
Compton Schwitz.
Yeah.
And was he married when he came over? Or did
Yeah, he was married to come over, and his wife died over here a little later. Yeah.
And was that your mother or?
No, that wasn't my mother, no. No. She was, what the heck did she have?
Tuberculosis.
Something about her, blamed it on the trip over, I don't know what it was.
Well, they didn't have the medicine in those days
Uh-huh.
either, and you know, we just didn't.
Anyway, she died about 2 years later after he was over here.
And then he remarried and married your mother, right?
He hired my mother for a housekeeper, you know what happened?
What? Joe
Yeah.
Marty.
Mother come over to Switzerland, she was down at Pimple's Saloon, and Dad picked her up for a housekeeper, see?
Pimples is the tavern in New Glarus where the Swiss hung out.
The Swiss used to come in, yeah.
And that was the place to where you did the business transaction and
Yeah.
found the immigrants and like the Green County House here and other places along the roads, the railroads. All right, Joe, so then you were born at what factory?
It was Green Prairie.
Green Prairie, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Do you remember much about growing up there?
Well, I went to Blanchardville School, Thailand, Blanchardville. We was the only Swiss. It was all Norwegian patrons, and my dad made cheese. There was all Norwegians, but we were the only Swiss. Yeah.
Could you talk English when you went to school?
No, Dad wouldn't allow us to talk English. At home, we had to talk Swiss, see. So it's kind of hard, see.
Well, did you go to a few Norwegian celebrations later
yes.
on in life?
There was a dance separate every week somewhere amongst the Norwegians.
And at the farm.
Yeah, at the farm, yeah.
All right, Joe, so you grew up there in the factory. Do you remember many things about your dad's factory?
No, he's made there 14 years in the Green Prairie.
Was it electricity, or did you have to have a boiler? Or?
Boiler, yeah. Boiler, yeah. Steam engine drive, see, yeah.
And did you help much, or?
No, I was just a kid at that time, you know.
Well, then how did you come to stay in the factory then? You grew up there and you went to school?
Well, my dad bought a farm, see. And we was getting 65 cents a hundred for milk. And I told Dad, you can have your farm. I said, so I went back and worked for Otto Andrich. Up that Belleville up there, see. I got more money working for him than I got a paycheck for milk, see.
Well, how long did you work for Otto?
2 years. Yeah, worked there 2 years, yeah.
Now, is that the country factory or under?
Yeah, it's out there in the country. Yeah.
up there at the crossroads there.
Yeah, crossroads.
I think that's probably, what was that, P or something like that?
Yeah.
PB.
PD and A there. So then after Hendrick, then,
Then I went to Pula, worked at Pula, brought it on. My brother-in-law worked at Monarch, you probably knew Monarch.
no, I didn't.
Didn't you? Oh, no, that's funny.
All right, but you made what type of cheese?
Swiss, all Swiss, yeah.
And your father made all Swiss?
Yeah, well, he in block. My dad made mostly block.
But the Emmentaler, but the Emmentaler cheese,
Well,
the Swiss cheese.
30 pounders, I think, the block, or what else, I don't remember. All Swiss, so yeah.
All right, Joe, then after that, then where did you go?
After I left Dahlman, I went down and worked for his brother. That's the worst place I ever worked in my life. But his
You still
No.
know.
brother, Ernie Dahlman, down at the Maple Leaf. I worked there a while. Yeah. But I didn't like it. I had to get the lads. See, I had asthma. I got asthma. And they made me sleep out in the packing room, where it's cold. I couldn't do that, see. Had to have it where it was warm. So I quit down there. What the heck did I go from there?
Up to Verona.
Huh?
Up to Verona.
Rhoda?
What's his name yet, out there in the factory, out country?
Oh, yeah, Goodle.
Yeah, Arnold
Did
Goodle.
you know Arnold Goodle?
Yeah, I didn't know.
That was before his time.
That was quite a factory out there. I tell you, how he ever got by with that, I don't know either. Part of the sewer run right down the middle of the factory. The big soup pool all the way down, so you know, out there. I got by with it.
So where'd you go, right outside then?
Yeah, that's about it.
Did they have any cricks or just
No, it's just right out there in the field. Yeah.
That's the way it was, there was no
Yeah.
place else to go.
God, how them guys got by with that, I don't know either.
And from there you went to the Scott, didn't you?
Yeah, I tell you what happened, I went down, there was a guy making cheese in the Scott factory by the name, remember what his name was? He went off his rocker there.
I don't remember.
And I put my application in the Scott factory, the 404.
And this is south of Browntown.
Yeah, that's Scott there, yeah. And this guy, I can't remember his name now. He went off his rocker about the middle of the summer. So the farmers come up to see me up in Madison. I was working for,
Oh, yeah, that's right, you worked in Madison.
yeah, I worked for,
Keggy.
Keggy, yeah,
Yeah,
Urban Keggy.
Mhm.
I worked for him too, Madison Milk Producers. And I
Now, what
was
were you doing there at Madison Milk Producers?
making Swiss.
Making
We
Swiss.
were on the highest 29 kilos a day there.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. And I was kind of the head cheesemaker there, and then these farmers come up from the Scott. Are you still interested in the factory? I says, yeah, well, you can, or something went wrong down, if you want to take it over, way. That's how I got down to the Scott factory, see, got through Madison there.
Well, then, how large a factory was that, Joe?
Scott? Oh, it's only two. Well, I made 4 cheese, but it was only a 2-wheeler is what it was. I bought some milk from different places.
So you started right out buying milk already there at the
Yeah,
Scott
I thought
factory?
I'd some milk around there.
So which being the co-op,
Yeah.
describe this a little bit.
Put on a truck and hauled in some milk around the state area there.
The farmers didn't want to wait 3 months for the check and,
No.
and,
No, I had to pay these right off, see.
You gotta buy their milk.
I bought the milk.
worked it out together. You became the farmer.
Yeah.
And it still was operating as a co-op.
Well, then I made down the Scotch factory there for 4 years. And then the guys come over one day from the mayor. There was a guy making cheese there. Remember what his name was? Married to Margaret Tischer.
Oh.
Bain, Carl Bain?
Yeah.
Carl Bain.
And what happened there? Let's see now. Carl Bain.
Well, anyhow, they were looking for another.
Yeah, anyway, I hired out, took over the mayor. That was in 42.
Well, Bain ended up going to the service.
Yeah.
And maybe that's,
Then he ended up, he was always around the forest and then down around the forest, I don't know, where the cheese factory down there, I guess, after service.
So, all right, so you went to the Mayer factory, which is about west a little bit from South Wayne there. And at what time, how many wheels were you making there? Then you went.
I made seven kettle factories.
Which wasn't too far from the Scott, right? About
No, it's
7.
only 2 miles though.
Yeah.
And,
I put my brother in the Scott.
I see.
Yeah. John.
And then you kind of worked together. You didn't take farmers from each other. And,
No.
you know. All right, so the Spire Factory, well, you know, Joe, you've got an awful good reputation as a great man and a very astute businessman. And this Meyer Factory there, you made cheese here, and of course we'll go into that a little bit here, but I notice we got this plaque here.
Yeah, the farmers give me that 35 years. Yeah.
35 years. It says to Joe Marty for 35 years as cheesemaker at the Mayor, spelled M-A-Y-E-R, Cheese Factory, from all your factory patrons. That's really, to me, a really accomplishment when you can stay at one factory for 35 years, because there's always jealousy, and
Quality, you know, the quality.
and little things there, maybe get somebody to work cheaper, so on and so forth. So it really is an attribute, and I commend you on it very much to stay to one. Like one cheesemaker said to me, you know how it goes, John, you know, if you stay too long in one factory, he says you already got a few enemies, and if you stay too long, you got many more. It's better off to keep going. But you really, that got to be quite an operation. How many wheels did you make at your peak?
And Mayor, remember?
10, 12?
Did I make 10? Let's see. No, I made more than that area, about 13, I think. And I sold out the down ones.
Did you make any soft type cheese while you were there at all?
Yeah.
Towards the end?
I had a vat and I made some mixture.
Was that quite a change then?
Yeah, that was no good. I should have never went into that.
And then for a while, he made a little cheddar too.
Yeah.
Oh, he said-
Yeah,
Nice
the
little
guy
bag.
come up from Freeport.
Yeah, I showed me how to make cheddar.
That's when there was no demand for Swiss at that time, you know. And that's when what was the name of that stuff that you made there?
Well, I made them round tubs of cheddar.
Yeah, it was something else too. Forgot
Well, the Emmental
now. Casein,
market.
was it Casein or what was it at that
Casein.
time?
Casein,
Yeah.
Oh, you made casein also?
Yeah.
That was, that'd be about 42,
Well,
wasn't
that,
it?
yeah, that was,
Yeah, the cheese price is real bad.
And then they
That's why
wanted
they're
Joe to
selling
do
cheese
that.
to it. I think it was Eddie Rule, I don't know. But come on and said, I'm not buying any cheese for the month of May.
Yeah.
So we
you
made
gotta
made that stuff. See.
Yeah.
And see, the war was already on.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, a lot of people couldn't figure out war was on in Europe, and
Well, the
we were
farmers went up.
And
Yeah.
still there was a surplus of cheese, and which eventually turned. Later on came the coupon books for food
Yeah,
stamps.
I remember them days,
You know.
yes.
Yeah, I
So you were
know.
one of those that made casein also.
Mhm.
Where did you ship that?
Down in Illinois there
From
somewhere.
Thorsten there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I forget the name of the company. Well, you've had quite an experience, cheddar, Munster,
Yeah.
casein, and Swiss. But you really like Swiss.
Oh, yes, that's amazing. That's what I
But
made.
you've had an awful lot of good Swiss. You know, a lot of times you can maybe run along good for a while, and you run into what they call a streak of bad luck or something, and you don't really know where it comes from. But to stay at a factory for 35 years,
I always had pretty good luck there, yeah.
must have had a little bit more than luck, I think, probably a real good operation. And
Run pretty well top-notch cheese all the time.
You should have stayed one more year and you had 40, and been better.
Is that- Well, anyhow, so now you were active here in Monroe in the Lions Club, and you used to yodel a little bit, and
Yeah.
sing. Now, how many children have you got?
We had 4.
4?
One passed away.
Passed away. Any of those made cheese or?
No.
No. And,
Well, my brother John, I've put him into Scott, but he's up here now. Went a little off his rocker.
He's got that Alzheimer's now.
Alzheimer's disease.
I wondered, did your father and his first wife have children?
Oh, yes.
2,
2.
yeah.
And you were from the second wife, and then the second wife and your father had how many?
5.
Yeah, second
So,
five.
okay.
No more than that. I got
Well, let's see, I
six.
got 3 brothers,
3 sisters,
3 sisters, that's 6.
7 with you.
Evelyn Marty, I get 7, yeah, 7, get 7.
Well, Joe, cheesemaking was really good to you, right?
Oh, yes.
But you bought a lot
I
of
always use Scheiden Schote. You ever use that?
No.
That's quite a way to make that starter, but I run good cheese in it. You cook your whey,
Mhm.
then you dump about a half a quart of sour in there. That's Scheide, see. Then you take a strainer and strain all the cheese off. It kind of like a cheese is straight, yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't
Never
ever.
made. I run good cheese with that.
What's the sour?
Huh?
What is the sour? That you
What'd you
said,
say?
What's a sour?
he said he put sour in it.
Oh, that's some starter from the day before.
Oh.
Sour, so you can dump it in. Then you shine it.
Well, what it separates then,
Yeah,
what happens is the same thing as making ricotta or seafood or whatever it is, and after you cook the whey,
Then you
then
take
the
a strainer,
solids
strain it all
and it,
out. And then you inoculate it in the afternoon. Sometimes it's down about 90 degrees or 100 degrees. Just put a little bit in there from the day before. Makes a nice starter.
it's inoculation. Everyone kind of had their own little.
Yeah.
And then what would work in some factories didn't work in another. I mean, some.
You know, my dad made that, I used that stuff from Switzerland, what they call it.
High forward.
Well, it's kind of like a wool, what the hell they call it?
We used to use 2-day-old starter, but rather than putting it in the starter, we always used to put some 2-day-old and some 1-day-old in the kettle, and that was kind of more or less the way one to carry the other, whatever, so on and so forth. And, but then, you know, I traveled with this Fritz Glauser, you know, and some of the people would have only maybe 60% rods, and the next would have 90%, and most of them would say the best way was 50, but whatever worked.
Well, I had to make a caucus on the side all the time.
Oh, did you?
This was pure rods, that one, the other
Yeah,
one.
that was pure rods. And of course, to explain here, you need the rod carcass combination for Swiss cheese. And rods, you usually get dead cheese, but.
Ask him how he met Evelyn too.
Huh?
I said he should ask how he met Evelyn too.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I was-
Met him at the Glarus at a dance.
Sure, yeah.
And what stage of the game would that be in, you know, when you met her? Were you made, what cheese factory were you around?
Let's see, where the heck was I?
Do you remember Evelyn?
Oh, he lived on a farm then when we
Was I
met.
on the farm yet?
So then you traveled with him all these cheese factories and they were on, and that's where your memory comes from, you know?
Yeah,
Well,
I
did
met
you-
We got married just before we went to the Scott, when we worked at Madison.
See, now, did you help much down at the factory?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's working on it all the time.
That's why I get my bad hips from, I think. I had 3 hip surgeries, and I still say it's from dumping milk and, you know,
Usually
all that
dumping milk.
bending and stuff, I think so.
What was your job? I mean, what did you do mostly? What's thermometers, heat, or?
Oh, mostly wash milk cans and dump
milk.
milk while
Or you worked in the
he
intake?
the day, wash the cans like mad. Them were the days.
We got mad one day that she washed all the cans and then we had
Yeah.
had a hired man there.
Inspector.
He washed them all over, that made her mad. He wasn't cleaning up.
Well, no, that was the kind of inspector come in, wasn't it?
No, and on
He
the
took
little
his
sheet
fingers and run underneath the rim, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't cleaning up, he washed them all over.
Yeah, I remember that.
Did you have a can washer?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not at first we didn't.
No, at first, I put it in later.
Yeah.
So you'd have to
Later
wash the
years.
cans and then, but the farmers took their way back in other containers, right? Or other cans and
Yeah.
otherwise sometimes that way kind of helped keep the
Yeah,
cans
that's
clean.
right.
So where did you ship your cheese to or sell it to?
Oh, where the heck did I ship most of the crabs first?
Yeah, then.
I got a good deal with Bass.
Mhm.
gave me 2 cents over for all I had good cheese, give me 2 cents over. What do you think? He died.
Yeah.
My contract went down the drain. The other guy in the craft wouldn't pay me nothing over.
Now, where did you deliver the cheese?
Monroe.
Right over here.
Oh, Mount Horeb, some.
Some of it went to
Some
Mount
went to
Horeb,
Mount
Kester.
Horeb. Sold quite a bit to Kester and Hensley up there.
See, when we sold the crap, it was Bill Winger.
Oh.
No, Joe didn't have it.
No, I had,
Ray Bass and,
boy, Ray Bass was a good one.
yeah.
He'd go to party with us and everything else, and God darn, he gave me 2 cents over, and I lost him, and he died.
Well, 2 cents, that's a terrific.
Oh, yeah.
Well, some days.
I was all paying everybody around there. Yeah.
Some days.
Picking up farmers.
Where's the Sherman was an enemy. He's over there in the other faction, and I paid him. He didn't like me at all.
Well, I can imagine, you probably took some farmers away
Yeah,
from you.
yeah.
Or just, that'd be Werner Senior over at the grain factory.
We were best of friends for a long time, but it,
Kind of broke that up.
yeah.
Well, that was one of the transitions of the small factories.
Yeah.
You couldn't keep the real small ones, and as the pickups came and as the transportation moved, where you could haul the milk further, and the milk trucks came, and the only thing is every farmer says, well, we want to keep one factory going, but let's keep ours. And should it be the Meyer factory, the Graham factory, or the Scott factory, somebody has to close up. It's just part of the competition. But it did cause a lot of enemies, but it made it good for the farmers because they had a choice to take their milk from here to there, and that was just part of the administration. Well, did you go to many of those dances up at Norwegian places up there?
Oh, yeah.
You and Joe?
We
House
for
parties, yeah.
every week there was a dance up in the Norwegian country there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of house parties.
And they had, I like that good old time music that the Norwegians had, you know.
Is Evelyn, are you Norwegian?
No, no. Half German and half Swiss. My dad was a babbler, and my mother was a Ravi or whatever. And Winslow.
I'll say, now, Joe, when you retired, you went to South Wayne?
I got
Yes.
the tavern there.
Yeah, the gym. You know,
Or built the tavern. The farmer says, you build us, the guy there, so build us a nice tavern. You'll be the only license they will ever issue. And I know what happened, they got another tavern up there.
But South Wayne was dry.
Oh, you bet
Yeah,
it was.
right.
Which would mean.
I had the first chance to put a tavern in there.
By dry, we mean that they voted it to where it non-liquor for many years, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure without outside being an outstanding citizen and a good reputation, they would have never issued you a license. But,
Then it was designed by this renowned architect from
Monticello.
Monticello, John Steinman.
Mhm. Yeah.
You're talking about the Village Inn,
Yeah.
which is what you built and started over
Yeah.
there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then you was there, active there for many years, and then your son took over then,
Yeah.
right? And, you know, a lot of cheesemakers went to town, some of them went farming, and some of them, a lot of them ended up in the tavern business,
Yeah.
association, and well, Joe, it's been an interesting conversation, and, over the years, what changes did you think you saw the most in cheesemaking? I mean, the milk trucks,
Yeah, milk trucks, I guess.
that really changed.
I put on the trucks and started hauling in milk and
then buying the milk.
buying.
Towards the end, what percent milk do you think that was still in the co-op, and would you say you were buying 50%, would you?
I don't know how much we bought. We didn't buy, we only bought about, how many farmers?
You had 50 farmers of your own.
I had 53 patrons, but
Yeah.
That you bought milk for? That you bought milk?
Yeah.
no, I bought only
Some
about
of them.
13 of them.
Oh, 13, okay, that's what I was kind of.
Yeah.
Paid them right out, see.
What percent it was, so it was mainly what you call a real co-op outside of those that wanted
Yeah.
the paycheck in the early days. Well, Joe, I want to thank you for coming, and let's see now, you said you were what age?
81.
81. Got it.
Be 82 in June. I was 80 Thanksgiving.
What are you, what's your age?
Well,
These
we
are young.
got different ones. We got
He's young yet compared to us.
generation behind you.
You bet.
So anyhow, I'm looking forward to maybe seeing you again down to Village Inn, and we'll maybe do the socializing and. I remember
That's
you
my
had-
trouble, I can't drink, see, I'm on so much dope, but
He's got a
I
lot
don't
of
know
pills.
alcohol.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of pills.
But you used to make the rounds there, Warren.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
I guess.
There at,
Oh, yeah, years ago.
That's why I think we're suffering now.
No, I'm gonna be drinking
Took a long time.
15 shots a day anyway.
Yeah, I
Is that
guess
right?
some days.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's got ulcers bad and
I was in a university hospital for 8 days last
a
month,
couple weeks ago, yeah, 3 weeks ago.
and bleeding ulcers.
Yeah. Some of that's coming from drinking too much, I think.
No,
Years
I
ago?
wouldn't blame that on that, no.
Years ago?
I done that with aspirins. The doctor told me what happened. Yeah, he took, couldn't get my breath at night, so I got up, took 3 aspirins. Took 3 aspirins when I went to bed. That's 6 aspirins. And the doctor says that'll make a hole in anybody's stomach, he said.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But you never smoked, Joe, though, either. did
No.
Well, I quit in 45, 1945. I was smoking cigarettes and I quit.
He smoked when he went down to Scott. That was the time they had them old golds, remember that?
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't remember, you're too young, but them days it was old
When
golds.
I bought them old gold, like on the ball game,
Yeah.
Cubs.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Cubs ball game.
Cubs ball game.
Mhm.
Well, now they put a sign in the factory, no smoking, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But those days,
Take care of them days. Yeah.
well, as we said before, yeah, thank you again for coming.
Yeah.
And shake your hand, and Evelyn, and Joe,
Yeah, betcha.
and bid the dog up.